Hello, I'm Chandler from SmoothBrainEDH. Foundations is finally here with a bunch of new commanders. I'm going to pass it over to my good friend Cameron and he'll tell you about the decks.
Howdy y'all, and welcome back. First up is Shelby, who's playing Loot, Exuberant Explorer. Loot's a mono green lands matter deck, hoping to put a bunch of lands into play to drop some huge haymakers off of Loot's activated ability. Next up is Matt on Slinza, the Spiked Stampede. Guys, we finally have a Gruul Beasts commander. Matt's gonna play some Beasts, go to Bonk Step, and start punching. Our third player today is Jason, who brought Elenda, Saint of Dusk. This deck is looking to gain some life early to make Elenda big and bonk some opponents to gain even more life and eventually kill them. Last up is Ethan on Aphelia, Viper Whisperer. This is a really cool deck aiming to play a bunch of early snakes, play Aphelia, then use Aphelia's activated ability to make his opponents lose chunks of life. We're about to get to the game, but before that, go ahead and like and let us know down in the comments which deck you're rooting for. Links to our socials, deck list, and Discord are in the description below. Our channel is partnered with Dragon Shield, so if you're looking to pick up any new sleeves or magic-related product, check out the affiliate link down in the description below. Use the code SMOOTH5 at checkout for 5% off your entire order. Now, let's get to the game.
Looks like Matt wins the die roll. He'll start off with Spire Garden and cast Birds of Paradise, then pass to Jason, who will play a Marsh Flats, then fetch for a Plains and cast Ocelot Pride, then pass to Ethan, who plays Land of War Wastes, and he'll tap it for a green to cast Ankle Biter, then pass to Shelby, who just has a basic forest, and he'll pass to Matt, who plays Kessig Wolfrun, then he'll tap for 3 and cast Gwenna. Then the turn is passed to Jason, who starts off with Urborg. He'll then move to combat and swing his Ocelot Pride over at Ethan, who will just take it. Post-combat, Jason will cast his Talisman of Hierarchy, then he'll pass the turn and make a cat on instep. Ethan starts off with also Urborg is land for turn, then he'll take a damage to cast Nature's Lore. This will grab him a basic forest, which he will use to cast Fang of Shigeki, and then he'll pass to Shelby, who just says Nykthos pass. Matt starts his turn off with a basic forest. Then he's able to cast Slinza, the Spiked Stampede, and Gwenna will trigger and get a 1/1 counter. And also untap. Now, Slinza will trigger when it enters the battlefield, but Matt can't pay Gwenna mana into that because this is a triggered ability, not an activated ability. Matt's not deterred though. After this, he's going to tap Gwenna for 2 green and use 1 of it to cast a Manglehorn. Well, there's only 1 artifact on the field, so bye-bye Jason's Talisman. And then with the last green mana, Matt casts Land of War Elves and passes. Jason starts off with his Silent Clearing, and then he'll cast Elenda's Hierophant. He'll then move to combat and swing Ocelot Pride over at Shelby. When lifelink hits, Elenda's Hierophant gets a 1/1 counter. Then Jason will pass and get another cat on instep. Ethan starts his turn off with another basic forest. Then he'll tap for 2 and cast Call of the Ring. And then Aphelia, Viper Whisperer. And then the turn is passed to Shelby. He'll start off by playing War Room, and then he'll cast Loot. He's got a second land drop now, so that's going to be a promising vein. The turn is then passed to Matt, and he'll start off with a Woodland Liege. Then he'll cast a Krosan Warchief for only 1 mana, and he'll draw a card when he does. He is then able to cast a Giant Cindermaw for only 1 red. He'll draw another card, and it also enters with a counter. He can't pay for the fight though because he's out of red mana. Regardless though, Matt will move to combat and swing Slinza over at the Death Touch player. He is not worried because he does have Regenerate on a stick over there, and Ethan will just take the 5 commander. Matt will then pass the turn, and Jason starts off by bolting himself with Witch Blessed Meadow. Then he'll cast a Mind Stone that enters tapped, and then he'll cast Daxos, Blessed by the Sun. Jason will then move to combat and swing for 2 in the air over at Matt, who will just take it, and then the turn is passed to Ethan. At the beginning of his upkeep, he will be called by the ring, and he'll make his commander his ring bearer, and he will pay 2 life and draw a card. He'll then play Access Tunnel as land for turn. Then he'll move to combat and swing Aphelia over at Matt, who will immediately chump with Land of War Elves. Post-combat, Ethan will cast a Pharika's Chosen, and then a Naga Vitalist. The turn is then passed to Shelby, and he will immediately cast a Tempt with Discovery. Everyone says no, so Shelby just finds himself an Argoth to the battlefield. And then the turn is passed to Matt. He'll start off by casting Intish Restoration. It resolves, so he'll sacrifice a forest to find 2 forests and a mountain to the battlefield tapped. Matt will then move to combat, and he swings his commander over at Shelby, who will just take the 5 commander. The turn is then passed to Jason, and he'll start off with Anguished Unmaking, targeting the Cindermaw. So it's exiled, then Jason will cast Starscape Cleric, and when it ETBs, he'll gain a life and his opponents lose a life. His Hierophant also gets a counter. Jason will then move to his end step where his cat will make 2 cats, and he'll have 2 instances of gain 1, which has his opponents lose 2, and then his Hierophant gets 2 more counters. Let's move to Ethan's turn now, where the Call of the Ring will tempt him again, and he'll pay another 2 life. He'll then play a Nurturing Peatland as land for turn. then tap for 6 and cast Seshiro the Anointed. He'll then move to combat and he swings his commander over at Matt, and then 3 Death Touchers over at Shelby. Ring attack trigger will draw Ethan a card and he'll discard Elves of Deep Shadow. Then everyone will just take their damage and Ethan draws an additional 3. I am not marking that command damage yet. That is a 1 power commander. Anyways, post combat, Ethan will cast a Hex Drinker and then pass to Shelby, who starts off with Courser of Crufix. It resolves and top card is Turn Timber Symbiosis. Interesting top card. After a bit of research, Jason finds out it can be played off Courser of Crufix on its land side, so that's what Shelby's going to do. Between it coming in untapped and Courser of Crufix, Shelby loses a total of 2 life. Top card after this is a Reliquary Tower, which he plays as a second land drop and gains another life. Next top card is a Forest, and then Shelby will tap for 3 and cast Rex Sage to blow up Call of the Ring. Then he'll pass the turn to Matt, who starts off with Garrick's Uprising. He'll draw a card on ETB, then drop a Questing Beast. When at ETBs, he'll draw 2 cards, then pay 2 to have Slinza fight Ocelot Pride. Jason does gain a life from this, which makes everyone else lose a life. Oh yeah, and Daxos also triggers, so he'll gain another one, and everyone loses another one, and the Hierophant continues to grow. After this, Matt will just pass the turn. And Jason starts off with Elenda, Saint of Dusk. ETB, he'll gain a life, and there are several triggers that come with that. After this, he'll cast Reanimate, targeting Ocelot Pride. Matt has a response though in Bolt Bend. He'll change the target to his Llanowar Elves, so Jason gets a Llanowar Elves. He'll lose a life, then gain a life, and there's triggers from that. Jason then moves to combat, and he swings for 2 in the air over at Matt, who just has to take it. Then the turn is passed to Ethan. He will start off with a Yavi Maya as land for turn. He's got a lot of options on his turn, but he decides to go for one you don't see in Commander very often. He'll pay 8 mana to level up Hex Drinker 8 times. That's a baby Progenitus, baby. Then 8 Pro Everything is swung over at Jason, who just has to take it, and Ethan gets a card draw off this. The turn is then passed to Shelby. He draws that Forest, and then reveals another Forest. He'll play both as his land drops for the turn, and gain 2 life. Next top card is Bridgeworks Battle. After this, he hasn't done too much this game, so he decides to go ahead and activate Loot's ability. He'll look at the top 6 cards of his library, and find no creatures. It's a whiff. Poor guy. Oh man, and next top card is Shriekwood Devourer. Well, he's got nothing after this, so he'll just pass the turn to Matt, who starts off with Stump Stomp. He'll have Questing Beast deal 5 Death Touch damage to Daxos, murdering him. Then Matt will go to combat, and said Questing Beast will hit Jason for 5. And then the turn is passed to said Jason. He's lost a lot of life this past turn cycle, so he decides to get it all back with a Grey Merchant. Ooh. Devotion is 4, so between it and Starscape Cleric, each of his opponents will lose 5, and he'll gain 12. And another counter for Hierophant Green. Jason then moves to combat and swings for 12 in the air at Matt, putting him down to 11. Then the turn is passed to Ethan. He'll play a Swamp, and then he'll move to combat. Aphelia goes over at Matt, then Hex Drinker and the Death Touchers all go over at Jason. There's an attack trigger. Ethan draws and discards a Forest. On to blocks. Matt will not, and Jason will block each of the Death Touchers with a 1/1 cat. Alright, now, after blocks are declared, but before damage, Ethan will pay 5 mana into Aphelia to activate her ability. Then we move to damage. Matt will take 1, and Jason will take 8, and then they each lose half of their life. This puts Matt to 5 and Jason to 16. Ethan also gets to draw 1 whole card. Then post-combat, Ethan will cast an Oran Viper, and then the turn is passed to Shelby. He'll stop on Ethan's end step though to activate his War Room to draw that Shriekwood Devourer. Next card revealed is Azusa, then he'll move to his turn. He'll go through his draw step to his first main, and next revealed card is Traverse the Outlands. Shelby says, I don't want to risk completely whiffing with loot again, so I'm just going to tap out for 10 mana and cast Genesis Wave X7. Top 7 cards of his library are Traverse the Outlands, Sensei's Divining Top, 2 Forests, Boundless Realms, Rampaging Baloths, and Galta, Stampede Tyrant. He's able to put in all those permanents except for Galta. Then the rest go to his graveyard. There's a Shifting Woodlands now on the top of his library, and his Baloths do see those 2 forests hit the field, so he'll make 2 4/4 beasts. After this, he plays his Shifting Woodlands as his first land drop this turn. Landfall! Next top is Myriad Landscape, which he'll play as a second land drop this turn. More landfall triggers. Next top card is Nature's Claim. After this, he'll cast Eternal Witness to get Galta back to his hand. Then the turn is passed to Matt. He'll start off with a Rootbound Crag as land for turn. Then he'll move to combat and swing Questing Beast over at Ethan, who declares no blocks. And then the turn is passed to Jason. He'll start off by cracking his Mind Stone for another card. Then he'll do it again, but this time with his Silent Clearing. He'll then play an Isolated Chapel as land for turn and cast a Suture Priest. Jason will then move to combat, and he swings for 10 in the air at Ethan, 2 in the air at Matt, and then 4 on the ground at Matt. Ethan can't block, so this will put him to 1. Matt will put his bird under the 2 damage in the air and his commander in front of Elenda. Now, Elenda and the Birds of Paradise will die, but Jason still gains 4 from lifelink, which triggers the Cleric, which will kill Ethan and drain Shelby and Matt for 1. After this, Jason will pass. Shelby stops on instep, though, to top his top. Then he'll draw it on draw step, and top card is a forest, which he'll play as land for turn. Landfall triggers. Next top card is... oh, that's a Craterhoof Behemoth. Yeah, Shelby just activates Loot's ability, and that hoof is hitting the field. It's kind of hard to see, but one of those infinite tokens says ×2 on it, so everything gets a total of +11, and he's got 9 attackers to swing with. He sends 6 at Jason and 3 at Matt, and they don't have any responses, so they are completely obliterated. That makes Shelby and Loot the winners. Congratulations. Yo, what's up everybody? Welcome to the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Quite the comeback story from the Little Lands Loot deck that could. But you know, filling up your board with landfall creatures and a Craterhoof Behemoth will do that. But this was a really good game if you ask me. Everybody got to do a lot. Nobody was left behind. Let us know what you guys thought down in the comments below. And while you're down there, don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. And check out all our links as well. But that's enough out of me. I hope you all have a smooth day.